Welcome to the Weather Show. I'm meteorologist Vin Crosby. If you're just tuning in for the first time, thank you for finding us. Give us a subscribe or a like if you enjoy what we're doing, and welcome back to all my YouTube followers. I wanted to do this video for a very long time. This is looking at the drought, where we come from back when it was in extreme conditions to now. You'll be amazed to see how many categories we have dropped out in the West because of all the snow and the moisture that has come our way. And then at the end, we're going to look at how much snow has piled up in the West, and that's a pretty good animation. You're going to want to stick around for that. Let's go and check out why I'm so amazed at this process. This is the loop that you can see going here from September all the way on in through December. As we go through November 9th, you can see there's a pretty good red and darker red. That is the exceptional drought. The brighter red there is the extreme drought. And then you get down to the orange, the severe drought. Notice in the Pacific Northwest, it disappears. We go to the white where there's none. And notice up around northwest Montana, that area becomes none. And then out in the west, as we go through December, tremendous amounts of snow and rain in areas around Reno down through California. Notice we go from those darker reds and maroons to light orange. That's like 2 or 3 categories in California alone. So some great news there. But all the West really makes a dramatic switch from exceptional and extreme drought with all the wildfires to a couple of categories less. So we're still in drought conditions, but certainly, boy, we're moving in the right direction. And this is why. This is why we have seen such radical changes in the extreme drought conditions out in the West. We talked about the very active weather pattern coming our way back in November. I said 5 storms are going to come our way and impact us with tremendous snows. You can see that video right up to the top here of your screen. And if you want to check out that forecast, but it came true. Watch the snow as it starts to pile up as we go through the months of November and December early on. We see just a little bit of snow in the West. Pay close attention down to the Sierra Nevada mountains, back up around Seattle and Portland. And then, of course, around the Idaho mountains, right around December 10th to the 15th, that's where we start to see a change in the weather pattern. We see some pretty good snows down around Salt Lake City and the Wasatch, all through the western mountains of the Rockies and Colorado. And, of course, in Wyoming, we see tremendous amounts of snow. But it really is not until after we get through the 15th into the end of the month that's we see a tremendous amount of snow really impacting California and the Pacific Northwest. A lot of those mountain ranges are going to see some of those levels go from 12 to 16 inches of snow into the darker blues and purples, where it gets into the 20 to 30 inch range and then up into the 50 to 75 inch range. The darker maroons and reds and the higher elevations, that's going to push it up over 100 inches. And the extreme bright reds, which you see now popping up in the Sierra Nevada mountains and the Wasatch Mountains and the Cascades of Oregon and Washington, now we see those purples and reds where it's over 150 inches of snow coming on down. Now this is going into Christmas week. Watch the snow start to blossom here going into the last week of the year, especially up around Seattle, Portland, and back through Boise. We're going to go in for some closer looks here in just a second, but look at all the snow up in Idaho, back up around Portland and Seattle, and down through the Sierra Nevada mountains. Watch Southern California, just north of Los Angeles. You'll start to see snow show up there, down around the Southern California area. So tremendous amounts of snows coming on down across the region. Now we're going into Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, and that's when we get another big push of moisture. Many areas seeing at least 2 to 3 inches of snow on the ground in the lower elevations. And right there, look at all that snow in the Pacific Northwest going into December 27th and on in towards New Year's Eve. And that snow blankets all areas out here. Now, we're going to go in for a closer look for a couple of areas. And in these areas, you'll be able to see the blanket of snow almost covering all of Oregon, all of Washington State, all of Idaho here, Montana, and getting down into Nevada and California. This going into New Year's Eve. Here's Boise. Notice those bright purples and reds up there in the higher elevations. That is where we see snows anywhere from 50 to 100 inches in accumulations. Down in the lower elevations of the Treasure Valley around Boise, 2 to 4 inches of snow on the ground. We still have some snow piles out on the ground today. But look at all the snow up around Seattle and Portland and down the Columbia River Gorge in the Willamette Valley. Some of those higher peaks, just incredible amounts of snow up around Snoqualmie Pass. They had record snows up through there. Spokane over to Missoula, on down towards Boise, western Montana. Heavy amounts of snow in the snowpack there. And as we go down into Southern California, as I mentioned, look at the snow down around there in Southern California, just outside of LA in the San Bernardinos, and then down by Fresno in the higher elevations. Tremendous snows to help the water content and to help the water supply, alleviating some of the drought conditions in a big way. Salt Lake City, there's the Wasatch around Grand Junction, Colorado, Rock Springs, Wyoming. You can see all the snow up there just east of Idaho Falls, up by Yellowstone National Park out in the west. So a tremendous amount of snow has fallen, and it really has impacted our drought conditions in the west. Right now, the weather pattern dry out west, snowy back in the east. But that's going to change as we go into early stages or late January, early stages of February. You'd be looking for that forecast of mine, which I'll have coming up for you. And then also all the updates on the tremendous storm east of the Rockies. It's going to impact like over 30 states with heavy snows, even in the deep south. Thanks for watching the Weather Show with Vin Crosby here on YouTube. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, share this with your friends and family. I'd really appreciate it on your other social media platforms.